Good morning, everyone. I'm Karen Basson. I'm the selection administrator at the Tygerberg campus. I'm going to hand over to Carlo Links.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Carlo Links. I'm the head of undergraduate selection and admissions at the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, and we are located at the Tygerberg campus in Bellville. And next to me is Ms. Karen Basson, who's an admissions officer and selections officer at our faculty. And we'll be answering some questions today pertaining to your selection and admission to study for 2024. So just a brief overview of our faculty. So as I mentioned, we are situated in Bellville and not at the Stellenbosch campus, directly adjacent to the Tygerberg Hospital. We offer 6 degree programs at our faculty. We offer MBCHB, Bachelor of Physiotherapy, Bachelor of Occupational Therapy, Bachelor of Nursing, Bachelor of Speech, Hearing and Learning Therapy, as well as Bachelor of Dietetics. So these are all the programs that we offer at our faculty. In addition to these, we also have world-class facilities at our faculty. We have a Olympic-sized swimming pool. We have a fully equipped gym. We have a rugby field, hockey field, cricket pitches, tennis courts. And in addition to these, we also have a cafeteria as well as 6 on-campus residences to cater for your needs. So what we will do now is we will just see if there's any questions from you guys pertaining to any admissions inquiries that you might have, or any other admissions information that you might require. Ms. Basson, is there any questions thus far?
Yes, the first question is, what are the requirements to study MBCHB?
Very good question. So the requirement for MBCHB is that you need an grade 12 average of at least 75%. Last year it was 70%. We upped it to 75% for this year. And in addition to that, for MBCHB, so you need at least 50% for pure mathematics, 50% for life sciences, and 50% for physical sciences. Just bear in mind that the 75% aggregate that you obtained does not necessarily mean that you will get in or be selected or admitted for MBCHB, as obviously we select from top down. We follow a top down approach, so we select those students with higher marks or the higher percentages first, and then if there is spaces available in our programs, we go further down the list. We have space available for approximately 300 new first year students in our MBCHB program. So in that category as well, we have 3 selection categories for MBCHB. We have B1 candidates, B2 candidates, as well as B3 candidates. B1 candidates are those candidates who are in matric or in grade 12 this year, 2023, as well as those candidates who matriculated 2 years prior to this year, so last year and 2021, who have not studied at another institution. Those are considered B1 candidates. Our B2 candidates are those candidates who are registered Stellenbosch University students. In other words, students who are in their first year or final year at another faculty at Stellenbosch University. And then our last category of students are those B3 students, are those guys who have matriculated previously 10 or 15 years prior to this year, as well as, apologies for that, I think our generator is kicking in, it's load shedding time, as well as those candidates who have a degree already, 1 or 2 degrees, and who have work experience as well. Ms. Basson, do you have any other questions?
Okay, the next question is, can I send in my June results? Are you looking at the June results?
So no. So what we do consider is we consider your final grade 11 results, so end of last year's results, when you apply for admissions. So just to mention that our applications opens up on Monday, the 3rd of April, and it closes the 31st of July this year. So when you apply in that period, you apply with your end of grade 11 results. We do not consider your June grade 12 results, as that are not considered as promotion results. So we will consider your grade 11 results, and your final selection will be based on your end of grade 12 results, which is this year's results. So when you apply with the grade 11 results. If you do get a conditional acceptance based on your grade 11 results, you will then need to maintain those results or just meet the minimum requirements of 75% at the end of grade 12 in order to be finally admitted to study MBCHB or any of our programs. If, however, you do not meet the minimum requirements with your grade 11 results, you will then be reconsidered and placed on a waiting list when we receive your grade 12 results in January, and then we will rank you and see where you fall into our waiting list or reconsideration list. So short answer, no, only grade 11 results when you apply.
Okay, the next question. How many programs may I apply for the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences?
So this is a good question, because you can basically apply for any 3 programs across the university. So not only at the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, but you can apply for any other 3 programs at other faculties as well. Please bear in mind that if you do select or opt or choose or decide to apply for any 3 of our programs, so for instance, if you apply for MBCHB or you apply for nursing or you apply for physiotherapy, and you get into any one of those, but your preference is MBCHB, you will have to complete that program. So for instance, if you get in for physiotherapy but not for MBCHB, you will have to complete physiotherapy in order to be considered for MBCHB once you completed your degree. You are not allowed to transfer or to move between our 6 programs at our faculties. You can't transfer from first year physiotherapy to first year MBCHB. You have to complete that. But you are allowed to apply for instance, BSc or law or education at our other faculties, complete that 1 year, and then you are allowed to then apply to transfer to MBCHB or any one of our 6 programs for the following year.
Carlo, the next question is, can I apply if I am taking a gap year?
Yes, you might take a gap year, as mentioned previously. So if, for instance, if you matriculated in 2021 or you matriculated in 2022 and this year is your gap year or last year was your gap year, but you didn't study anything after matric, so you weren't enrolled at another institution or another university to study, you will then be placed in that B1 category, and your matric results will then be considered. So you are allowed to apply even though you have taken a gap year. Say for instance you matriculated in 2020 or 2019, you will then be considered in the B2 category, or not the B2 category, apologies, the B3 category, and then for selection. So if you matriculated last year or the previous year, yes, you may apply for any one of our 6 programs.
The next question is, I missed the application date.
Yeah.
Do you consider any late applications?
So we do unfortunately not accept any late applications. That's why we give you about 3 months to apply. So our applications opens up on Monday, the 3rd of April, up until the end of July. Please make sure that you do apply before the cutoff date. If you started your application on Monday and you have no information or you still need to submit information, please inform the university. Send an email to info@sun.ac.za, that's info@sun.ac.za, just to inform the client services department that you still need to upload your results or you still need to include certain personal or biographical information in your application, so that your application can be complete at the time when the application cycle closes at the end of July. So no late applications. You unfortunately, because of the amount of applicants that we receive, just as an example, for our faculty specifically, for last year's application cycle, we received almost 40,000 applicants. So please, you need to make sure that your application is on our system before the end of July 2023. Any other questions on our WhatsApp
Yes.
group?
Must I write the NBTs or the SJTs?
Okay, so let me start off by the NBTs. The NBT is the national benchmark test. The national benchmark test is not required for any one of our 6 programs. The only time that it is required for any one of our 6 programs is when you are a learner at the School of Tomorrow. So that School of Tomorrow is usually referred to as the homeschooling candidates. You are then required to write the NBT test. When you do write the NBT test, you need to inform us that you are homeschooling for this year, you are at the School of Tomorrow, and that you are in the process or that you have your NBT results, so that we can know, so that we can update it on our system. So that's the NBT. So if you are in any of the other mainstream schools, the NBT test is not required, only if you are at the School of Tomorrow. And then secondly, the SJT, which is the situational judgment test, that will not be required for this year or for next year's intake. So when we select you, we are only looking at your academic merit. So just a bit of background on the SJT. The SJT was formulated a few years ago as a non-academic merit selection factor. So besides your school results, there was a non-academic factor included, and that we average out when we give you an overall percentage. But due to some administrative issues that we had last year and we still have this year, the faculty have decided that we are not going to include the SJTs for this year. So when you apply with your grade 11 results, and that is it. No SJTs, just your final grade 11 results will be considered for selection.
Caller, the next question is from Felicia. Good morning, my name is Felicia. Can I apply if I'm upgrading my results?
Morning, Felicia. Yes, you may. So when you apply with your old results or your current results. Then in the application, you also then, once the application is done, you need to inform us that you are in the process of upgrading certain subjects. As soon as you get those subjects' results back, you need to inform us. So you need to send an email to info@sun.ac.za. Always remember, when you do send an email to our client services department, in the subject line, always include your application number. So when you apply, you will get an application number. The application number will start with APP/ and then a numeric number. That is your application number that you include in your subject line, as well as your name and surname in the subject line. A brief description will then follow in the email body of what your query is, and then you will just tell the client service department that this is my application number, I'm in the process of upgrading my matric results. They will then make a note and they will inform us. So when you do get your upgraded results, just inform us so that we can update it on our system, so that we can then give you a new score or a new average based on your upgraded results. Thank you for the question, Felicia.
The next one is, I wanted to know if pure maths is required for all the programs at your faculty.
Yes, so pure math is required for all 6 of our programs except for nursing. So nursing, you can still have math literacy, but obviously we will give preference to those candidates who have pure math. For math literacy, you would then need at least 60% and above to be considered for Bachelor of Nursing. But for all of our other 5 programs, you need pure maths as an entrance requirement for those programs.
The next question is, I'm an international applicant. Will I be considered for selection?
So for all of our 6 programs, we give preference to South African students. and or those students who have permanent residency, who are asylum seekers, or who have refugee status at the time of application. At the time of application, meaning that the day that you apply, so say for instance you apply on Monday or you apply on Tuesday or Wednesday, you are already in the possession of those documents if you are not South African student. We unfortunately do not consider international students because of the fact that our numbers need to reflect our South African population and demographics in terms of community service placement and internship that is mandated by the Department of Health of South Africa. So when you apply, you need to insert, obviously you will say that you are a South African citizen or you're not a South African citizen. If you're not a South African citizen, you need to then supply us with your refugee status, asylum seeker, or permanent residence number in that application, because then you will be considered as a non-citizen of South Africa, but we do consider you. We cannot consider you if you have a passport from abroad. So for instance, if you are a British citizen or American citizen and you're applying with your passport, you unfortunately will not be considered for selection for any of our 6 programs.
Carlo, here's
Yes.
another question about the NBTs. I just wanted to ask another question about the NBT test.
Yes.
If it is only homeschool students who have to take it, must all students who want to apply complete the test?
So yes. So if you are homeschooling, but remember I mentioned if you are homeschooling, but specifically the School of Tomorrow system, or if you are involved with the School of Tomorrow, you need to then complete the NBT test. The NBT test your results will be on a national database, so you can basically apply at any university with those NBT results. If you are not at the School of Tomorrow, but you are homeschooling, I would then advise you, just as a backup, to also complete the NBT test. Like I said, the NBT test is not only a requirement at Stellenbosch University, but it might be a requirement for other institutions, for any of our other 26 universities in South Africa. If the case is that you are not getting in or you're not considered for selection for any of our programs, so that you can have at least a backup. But I would advise you to please then write the NBT test if you are homeschooling this year. Yes.
Carlo, yes, they want to know where can they get the selection guidelines.
So our updated selection guidelines is on our website. So you can go to www.martis.com or you can go to www.sun.ac.za, that is sun.ac.za. On the homepage of our website, there is a tab that says apply. You click on apply and then you scroll down to the selection and admission criteria. Click on there and it will take you to the different programs that we offer, and you just scroll down. I think our faculty's program, 6 programs, is at the bottom of that page. You can just click on any one of those pages, any one of those programs, MBSHB, physiotherapy or nursing. Click on there and the updated selection guidelines is on there in both Afrikaans and English. It's about a 20-page document in English, 20-page document in Afrikaans. So the updated information with all our selection criteria is on our website. It's available on our website. What you can also do is, if you prefer to contact us directly, you can send an email to tygselections@sun.ac.za. That is TYG and then selections, one word, all small caps, @sun.ac.za. Between myself, Ms. Basson, and our other colleagues, we will then assist you with regards to answering your questions that you might have as it pertains to selection and admissions criteria.
Carlo, the next question is, if my application was unsuccessful, is there a waiting list?
So yes, so remember, as I mentioned previously, so when you apply to our faculty, and say for instance you have an average in grade 11 of 70%, and you apply for MBSHB, you will then get an automated response that will say that you will have been unsuccessful based on the first round of selection. So we have 2 rounds of selections. We've got the first round of selections based on your grade 11 results. And then we've got the second round of selections based on your grade 12 results. So you will then get a automatic generic response that will say that you are unsuccessful. But remember, we still need to wait on your grade 12 results. So in January, it's usually that first week of January when we receive your grade 12 results. Your results will then be updated automatically on our database and on our system. So you don't need to send your grade 12 results to us first and foremost. Secondly, if you then do meet the minimum requirements with your grade 12 results, we will then automatically place you on a waiting list. So you do not have to contact us or ask us to be placed on a waiting list. We will do that automatically. We will place you on a waiting list, and we will rank you. So how the ranking works is purely based on your grade 12 results. So if you have 80%, you will be there. If you have 79, and then we follow a top-down approach. So short answer, yes, you will be reconsidered with your grade 12 results. So if you are unsuccessful in the first round of selections, it does not mean, or it does not say, it's not to say that you will not be considered at all based on your grade 12 results.
Carlo, then they want to know, can you please tell them more about the residents at Tygerberg campus?
Okay, so what I will do is, so unfortunately one of our colleagues could not be here today who deals with the residence placements at our faculty, but you can take this email address down. So like I mentioned previously, we've got 6 residences on campus at the Tygerberg campus, and we also have a few off-site residences that's in close proximity to our campus. So you can contact Miss Annelies Scholz directly, and her email address is amscholz@sun.ac.za. So that is amscholtz@sun.ac.za. You can just drop her a mail, and you can copy myself in. You can copy Miss Basson in. I will give you our email addresses at the end of this session. And then she will give you some more information with regards to residence placement at our faculty.
The next question is, they want to know if they can change their selection, the program choice after the selection.
So what you can do, say for instance you applied for any 3 of our 6 programs and you have not been successful in your preferred choice, which is your first choice. And depending on where you are ranked on the list for your other 2 programs. So for instance, if you applied for MBCHB as your first choice, for Bachelor of Physiotherapy as your second choice, and for nursing as your third choice, but you did not get in for MBCHB, but you want to be considered for the other 2 programs, you will be, because you will be on those 2 waiting lists as well. So you will be on the waiting list for all 3 programs that you apply for. That is just for our faculty. If, for instance, if you applied for MBCHB as your first choice, but you applied for BSc as your second choice, and for Agri-Sciences as your third choice, just as an example, you will then have to, and you did not get into your first choice, which was MBCHB, you will then need to contact those other 2 faculties to find out if you are on their waiting list or if you are on their reconsideration list for those 2 other programs. But if you applied for any of our 6 programs, you are then obviously considered for all 3 of those programs that you applied for.
Carlo, they wanted to know if the university offer an extended degree program for medicine.
Okay, so unfortunately we do not offer any EDP programs for any one of our 6 programs. So all our programs is generic programs, is bachelor programs. So all our programs, so MBCHB is a 6-year program, and all our other programs, all 3-year programs. So we do not offer any extended degree programs for any of our 6 programs at our faculty.
Carlo, then they want to know if the classes is in English or Afrikaans.
So our classes, so the classes in English. There's some class that's in Afrikaans as well. So you do not have to be worried. You will be catered for in your medium of teaching, preferred medium of teaching. We have. You can just go onto our website with regards to the university's language policy. But as far as our faculty is concerned, yes, it's English and Afrikaans. Yes, Ms. Paswan.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yes, the next one is how many students do you select for medicine?
So as mentioned before, so our first year class, we have space for 300 new first year students. So for instance, out of a lot of applications, and I'm talking about at least about for MBSHB, I think we had about 14,000 applications just for MBSHB for last year. So out of that, we only have space for 300 students, and those 300 students are the top of the cream students, if I can put it that way. So you have to really perform well this year because you need to compete with the rest of the country. So we only have space for 300 MBSHB students.
Then they want to know, Carlo, must they write a motivational letter?
So for remember previously I mentioned we've got 3 categories of students or 3 cohorts of applications, B1, B2 and B3. If you are matric this year, or you took a gap year last year, or you matriculated in 2021 but did not study, we only consider your matric results. So there is no need for any motivational letter for your cohort of students. We only look at a motivational letter if you are a registered Stellenbosch University student or a B3 applicant, those applicants who have degrees already or has work experience. For matriculants this year or for grade 12 students or applicants, we do not need a motivational letter. It's nice to send your CV and to send a motivation. It's nice to read through it, but it will not have an impact on your selection. We will only select you based on your results, on your marks.
Then they want to know, Carlo, how many hours of community service?
So unfortunately, we won't be able to assist you because that is a program that changes every year. So the Department of Health, the National Department of Health, they are, so when you complete your degree with us, you apply for internship, you apply for community services, and they will then place you either at a rural hospital or a clinic or wherever the case may be, close to your home. It could be far from your home, and they will then determine. Unfortunately, we do not have access, or we do not have the information pertaining to that. But what you can do is you can send an email to me. My email address is carlo2@sun.ac.za, so it's CARLO and then the number 2, one word, at sun.ac.za. And then what I will do from my side is I will then liaise with the relevant people, the relevant stakeholders, and get back to you. So you can just drop an email. On Monday, I'll respond to you immediately.
Carlo, the last question now. Do you take disadvantaged student in consideration?
Yes, so disadvantage, the term disadvantage is quite a broad term. So we do consider all candidates, regardless of where you come from, which school you attend, where do you stay, which province you come from. Just remember, I would advise you to please go through our selection guidelines. We have a selection guidelines that I mentioned earlier that's on our website. Go through our selection guidelines. In that guidelines, we have something that is called a CES factor. So a CES factor is a socioeconomic status factor. And that factor basically scores you dependent on how disadvantaged you are. So say for instance you come from a rural Eastern Cape city, somewhere there in Alice, or somewhere in the Northern Cape that's very rural, that you don't have access to many of our amenities. That CES factor, that score, is based on the information that you as an applicant insert when you apply. So when you apply, it will ask you what your mother did, what your father did, where do you stay, which province you come from, what school, etc., etc. And that information will then determine your CES factor. The higher the score you get, so the CES factor is from 0 to 10, the higher the score. So if you have a CES factor of say 8 or 9, that tells us that you are more disadvantaged than someone with a 0 score or a 1 score CES factor. That is just very broad explanation of how it is calculated, but I urge you, please go onto our website and look at our selection guidelines. It is in detail there for you to go through. If you have any questions regarding that particular term, the CES factor term, you can just drop me an email and I will respond to you.
Thank you very much for all the questions. please apply in time.
Yes,
Yes.
and like I said, my email address is carlo2@sun.ac.za. Karen will give her email address. You can send her an email as well.
My email is cb3 at wish you all the best.
Yes, so for any information that you guys, any additional information that you guys need, drop us an email. We'll get back to you. All the best with your upcoming exams. Enjoy the holiday. We look forward to seeing you guys here next year. Please apply. Do not leave the application for too long. Apply with your grade 11 results as soon as the application opens up so we can start processing your application. All the best and thank you.
Thank you.